live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you're making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Guys, we got a lot to get into. Overreaction Monday is just absolutely going nuts. Absolutely going nuts. People are freaking out about a spring game. The O-line looked bad. Yeah, they had some good moments, but they looked bad. No, they didn't. As a former offensive lineman, I'm going to tell you why LSU's offensive line did not look bad in the spring game. Don't overreact. There were some good moments, but don't overreact. Joe Burrow going 15 of 29 in the 2019 spring game should tell you why you shouldn't overreact. We'll get into more of the spring game, even though I know that we did the post-game show. Also, Rick Patri, the president of Monster Bass, one of our great sponsors, is going to be joining the show around at 7:20. We're going to talk a lot of sports with him, our fisherman. You can get all of the questions you want to fire into Rick. Where some great places that he likes to fish. We'll talk about that with him as well coming up and go around. Obviously, it's a sports podcast. We're going to talk about sports. Might even get some LSU in there. You know we're going to get LSU in there. You absolutely know this. Also, we said this Saturday, and I told you guys I was going to just tee off on some stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll probably just start to show off that way. Hashtag bring Kim home. Bring Mulkey home. Blake, we don't have the money. $2.27 million is so much for LSU. We can't do it for women's basketball, but we can pay Bo Pelini $4.6 million to sit on his lazy ass and not coach a damn defense. Jesus Christ. All right, we'll get into that. I'm probably going to get amped up. I'm tired of LSU can't afford shit. I'm tired of it. We'll get into that. Before we get started, you know we're live. Before we get started, let's get to a couple of these comments, and then we'll pay some bills around this thing. Shannon Williams says, and we are live. Good afternoon, Shannon. Danny says, let's go. What's up, Danny? Craig Schilling says, and we are live. Blaine says, let's go. Matt also says, let's go. Let's see. Mark says, what's up, Blake? Hashtag Miles Brennan. Yeah, we'll see. It's quarterback race. Some people are overreacting to that. And then we'll get this one to John. What's up to my Louisiana people? Can't wait to be in BR this fall. Blake, come to the tailgate and drink a beer with me. Okay, John, tell me where you guys tailgate. It always says Cajun Tiger tailgating. All right, well, we'll have to do that. But before I can actually do that, we got to pay some bills around this thing. And none better than our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. GM Varno & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. And our good friend, Mr. Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape. 225-937-7220. That's 225-937-7220. If you want the best looking yard in your neighborhood, you better call Richie Roche at Roche's Lawn and Landscape. Again, that's 225-937-7220. And tell them your good friend, Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. Kenny says Taft sure can come up with the money cash for Mulkey. Let me tell you what I'm absolutely just sick of it. Just absolutely sick of. We got people out here, and look, by the way, breaking news. I'm just going to do it here. You guys know how I have been on this agenda-driven, fight back people who have agenda in the media. Glenn Guilbeau had some very interesting comments this past weekend. So Glenn Guilbeau is going to be stopping by the show Wednesday. So we're going to be talking to Glenn, and we're going to have a very spirited debate. Very, very, very spirited debate. But I do got to call this out first before we get to the Overreaction Monday from spring football. I just am absolutely sick of fans saying, you know what, Blake, we just can't afford to pay Kim Mulkey. Blake, LSU women's basketball does not make a profit. Interesting. then why in the Rudy Poo hell is Baylor paying Kim Mulkey $2.27 million? Why? Well, let's go down the list of reasons, and I'll get to the comments in a minute. But a couple of reasons of why you should pay Kim Mulkey to come home. Number one, she's a guide dog winner. She's a guide dog winner. The worst thing that she does is get to the Elite Eight. There's a reason why women's basketball is so damn popular at Baylor, because she works her ever-living ass off. That's why. You think that she's not going to raise money to go out here and make her damn salary? You're absolutely crazy. Will Wade, you want a weight room in your facilities so that you don't have to walk across the street? Kim Mulkey's going to bring that. She's going to go up to Scott Woodward and say, bring that shit here, boy. And then everybody's just freaking out about, we can't pay Kim Mulkey. You're paying Bo Pelini to sit on his Rudy Poo ass $2.3 million again, not to coach. Well, Blake, they generate revenue. She's going to generate $2 million worth of revenue. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. She's doing it at Baylor because what happens is when you win, it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting what happens when you start winning. Fans start getting their happy asses in seats. Fans start getting up and getting ready to go and want to go watch women's basketball. Well, Blake, that didn't happen when Simone Augustus and people were here. TV deals. Things are different now. Things are different now. And by the way, LSU basketball wasn't historically going to Final Four. Oh, I'm sorry. You messed up and went to an Elite Eight. Oh, I'm sorry. You're one of the 8 best teams in the country. I'm sorry that you're recruiting Louisiana and 60% of your starting roster is from the state of Louisiana. Winning, and look, winning cures all sins. I've told you this before. Winning covers a multitude of sins. Oh, and by the way, you have an extreme, from a national standpoint, which we will talk to Glenn Gilbo on Wednesday about, even though he covers LSU and he's not a national guy. You have a PR nightmare on your hands. Go pay a woman from Louisiana $2.5 million to bring that ass here and let her come here because she said she wanted it. In the grand scheme of things, that woman went on with Jordy Culotta and said, bring that ass here, boy. But Blake, we can't pay. She better, and I know that there probably is, hint, hint, wink, wink, ding. They're going to talk to her. They're probably going to, if they haven't already right now, going to bring her ass here. Anyway, you know what else I gotta get to? I want to talk pulmonary, but I lost it Saturday when they started losing. We'll get to it this week. But winning's going to generate you revenue. The funny thing about this is remember when LSU football absolutely sucked? Remember that? You know, before Nick Saban got here and then before Les Miles, his tenure, even though he was Rudy Poo, and now Ed Orgeron. You know what happens when you win? Money comes. Money always comes when you win. You think Baylor is going to pay a woman $2.27 million to lose? No. And you want to get that PR nightmare off your ass? Go hire her. Period. And it shouldn't even be about I don't want to say covering up because that'd be a bad choice of words. But you want to start easing some tensions and start moving in the right direction? Go pay a woman from your state $2.3 million. Make her more. I don't want to know how to say this without really just saying it. Make her richer in a season more than Paul Maneri. Make her more richer than Will Wade. Because the truth is, the God's honest truth is she wins more than those two dudes. Historically, she does. And just because it's a woman's sport, we want to freak out and say, oh, well, Blake, you can't do that. The shit I can't. Watch. If you hire Kim Mulkey, you are going to generate revenue. If you're generating revenue, with all due respect to LSU gymnastics, with all due respect, if you think that you can generate money at LSU gymnastics, you can generate money for LSU women's basketball. Period. Point blank. Period. End of discussion. People will go watch basketball, a sport that they understand more than gymnastics. Guys, I don't understand gymnastics. Don't act like I do. A girl does a flippity flop and then she lands perfectly. I'm like, oh shit, that's a 10. And she gets a 9.287. Like, what did I miss? Anyway. All right, let's get to a couple comments. And yes, it is Overreaction Monday. We will have a guest on in about 7 minutes. Let's get to some comments, and then we'll get to my thoughts on some of this overreaction, because we have a complete overreaction to a LSU spring game. Of course we do. Of course we do. Everybody out there saying the O-line sucked. No, they didn't. Go rewatch that game. Oh, Max Johnson was under I'm going to stop. Max Johnson was under a godly amount of pressure. No, actually, he wasn't. You know what? Quite honestly, don't hold on to the football for 4.5, 5 seconds. Maybe you'll be able to get rid of the football. You can't hold on to the ball that long, dog. And you're overreacting to a spring game, man. What today? This is April. So let's just forget about April. So May, June, July, August. So you have 4 months to figure out what you can do with your O-line. Huh. Interesting. A glorified practice. Blaine says, don't let him off the hook. Talking about Glenn Gilbo. No, we're not. I mean, look, I'm going to have a spirited debate with him. I mean, I'm not going to trash any guest that comes on this show and spends time to come on this show, but we're going to have a spirited debate. It is what it is. He said some things, and so I'm going to question him. And we're going to get down to the bottom of it. You're going to want to tune in Wednesday. No, I'm not. Look, I think Glenn does some good things, but I think that there are some things, too, that he's got to answer for that I clearly don't agree with, and clearly we have to wait till due process. If you want to see what probably some of this is going to be about, too, you can go over to our Twitter page. Don't forget to follow. David says, preach it, Blake. I agree with you. Darren says, amen, Blake. These people who say that we can't afford Kim Mulkey come from the same circle that would still have Tiger Stadium at 79,000 capacity. Anti-improvements can't see the forest through the trees. It's ridiculous. I agree with that. I mean, look, and that's a good part, Darren. Good point, Darren. Guys, you have to spend money to make money. You know, it's like the old saying goes: broke money or scared money don't make no money. Guys, there's a look. I have a light right here. I have monitors all around. I have a desktop right here. I have the microphone. I have the headphones. You got to make money. You got to spend money to make money, guys. You know how honest I am. This shit came out of my pocket before the sponsors came. Because the truth is, bitch, wasn't nobody shooting with me in the gym, as Kobe would say. Wasn't nobody shooting with me in the gym. If you want to be relevant in the women's space, with God, the God's honest truth is, with Louisiana girls going to Baylor. As Ben is really upset that Kim Mulkey's not here. That's my son, if you don't know. Let's see. Josh says winning equals money. Exactly it does. Ronald says Mulkey will definitely bring in some awesome recruits, especially some of those young ladies who were considering Baylor. I agree with that. I completely agree with that, as Ben is just losing his absolute mind up in there. Josh also sent him some stars on Facebook. Guys, I greatly appreciate it. I say it every time. We'll give you the shout out every time you do that, guys. It helps us with the podcast and everything that we're doing, building our network and everything that we're doing. Dude, he is just not having it. Paul says, hashtag Ask Blake, women's beach volleyball is where it's really at. Go Tigers. Okay. I mean, it is. David says sponsors will flock to women's basketball if we are winning, which increases revenue. Another point. Do you really think that people are not going to pay Kim Mulkey endorsements? Guys, I mean, I think I canceled it out. Yeah, I did. We opened up the show with a Kim Mulkey quote. She said, it literally is her coming out saying, hell no. Hell no. She is from Tickfaw, Louisiana, literally 40 minutes away from Baton Rouge, from where she grew up. And look, sometimes you want to be closer to family. It's just the truth. All right, we're going to get to overreaction. We got about 3 minutes. I'm going to get to Mr. Starkey. Guys, also, Ryan's Barbershop is where I get my haircut. Mr. Starkey is a good barber over there. Lines of brothers beard up. You remember how straggly that thing got? My what do you call it? My mustache had its own 401k plan. It was getting so old and gray. So, but he says, go get Mulkey. When women's basketball was a powerhouse in the past, a PMAC was always sold out. And you think that shit's not going to generate revenue. Look, three things, and then we'll continue to go back into it as we continue to go through. Obviously, we'll be talking about this, and while I'm not so stressed about this, we'll continue to talk about this team and the spring game because it's what we saw. Number one, don't overreact to Miles Brennan or Max Johnson. Okay, yes, you can tell that Max Johnson has some abilities that are better than Miles Brennan. The fact that he can move with his feet, they had no quarterback design runs for him. The fact that he was able to roll out of the pocket to generate throwing lanes, which a lot of people don't understand. Guys, just because a quarterback scrambles outside the pocket does not mean the O-line's doing bad. You really better go rewatch that game and really watch the first unit before you sit there and say that this O-line got dominated. Before you run out there with the absolutely horrendous take of they need to, the Austin Deculus needs to lose weight. Austin Deculus dominated Saturday. When Anthony Bradford came in with the ones, he had a pancake, and they didn't give up a sack. What else do you want your guard to do? And my son, he's just howling, man. Ben's just howling. But what do you want this O-line to do? There's videos out there right now. Dare Rosenthal locking B.J. Ojulari down. When Max Johnson is sitting in the pocket, now I'll time this. I think it was on like the fifth series. I still have my notes here. It was like on the fourth or fifth series. It was the fifth. No, it was the fourth series when Max Johnson is sitting back in the pocket for 7.5 seconds. 7.5 seconds. And yes, pressure's going to be generated. O-lineman is not going to be able to hold the pocket for that long. It's not going to happen. Multiple times, Ty Davis-Price, who quite honestly is coming off an injury, broke off some stuff. Don't freak out about Damone Clark. But stop with this O-line. You did that shit in 19, and you're going to do it again this season. And then when you look up and you see, damn, this offensive line's actually pretty damn good because you know what? The truth is they ran nothing but vanilla offense. Guys, inside zone, in routes, go routes. That's what they ran. That's what they ran. Legitimately 1% of their playbook. Vic says, hashtag Ask Blake, let's be honest. Mulkey will get endorsements and money based off our prestige as a coach. As she should. Quite simply, as she should. If you're not, what was that guy's name who from The Advocate who said that it was a bribery that Ed Orgeron took from Raising Cane's? God bless Jesus. You think Raising Cane's ain't going to get on the phone with LSU? Beep, boop, 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 beep. Hey, Scott, it's Ty Graves over at Raising Cane's. Tell Kim Mulkey to bring that ass here, girl. I want to give her $1 million to eat my bland ass chicken. Mark also says, Mulkey is 58. How many years do you think LSU gets out of her? Shit, you get 10 years out of her, 7 to 10 years out of her, and get you out of the stone age of women's basketball. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. So, Derek says Tickfall is 1.2 north miles, I'm assuming, of Hammond, if y'all don't know where that is. Yeah, I probably should have specified. Specified where that is. I mean, the cop ticket capital of the world. If you've ever gone through Tickfall, you better go 17 miles below the speed limit because you will get a ticket. No question about that. I got more tickets in Tickfall, Louisiana, and one city or one little village, as they call it, than I have anywhere else in my entire life. Okay. So, yeah, let's see. I saw somebody send us some stars. I'm going to give him a shout out. Richard on Facebook Live sent us some stars. Richard, we greatly appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. David says ESPN or FPI guys smoked some good weed. Okay. Marvin says, Baylor men's had boot boys. Yeah, they did. Both of them did. Both of them had people from Louisiana starting. I mean, come on, man. Adam says, I'm still trying to wrap my head around Miss State being ranked 8th in preseason. Meanwhile, we're 18th. I get it's just a preseason poll. Yeah, Adam, I don't know that. And quite honestly, it's probably because they have a lot of people coming back, but so does LSU. I quite honestly don't get, and this is just me, I really don't care about preseason polls. Like, I really, really, really don't care about them. Really. Guys, you remember 19, they had LSU at times ranked second behind, who was it, Ohio State? I mean, come on, man. Did your eyes not tell you what that team did in the SEC? And look, Saturday's not going to give anybody any help on that. There are some takeaways I think that you can look at after rewatching the game twice after Saturday. One, I'm not as worried as some about getting another big weapon on offense. I think Jeray Jenkins could step up. I think that Trey Palmer wasn't there that to give you some better looks or some good looks. So I'm not going to freak out. And again, guys, when you have a defense and something that people don't always remember and or think about is the simple nature that LSU's defense has been playing against this offense all spring. They've seen this time and time and time again, and we're acting like, oh, man, this defense is just so good. Well, no, they've seen them for a whole month and a half, 2 months. They know what they're running. So, yeah, they're going to be a little good at knowing and understanding what they're seeing. We're supposed to have a guest, Rick, but it looks like he's running a little late. I guess I'll just have to ask. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it looks like he's running late. But it doesn't matter if look, we'll just continue to go. Ryan Thibodeau says, go 2 miles below the speed limit in Tickfall. More than two. I mean, you better just go, if it's 45, you better go 30 or 25. Just go 20 below because somehow, some way, you're going to get a ticket. I mean, man. Tony Williams says, what's up? What's going on, Tony? Joshua said, went to spring game. Jared Small was banging heads. Yeah, I thought he had a good game. I think that there's always guys in the spring that we look at and we see and we just say that, hey, where did that guy had a great spring game? Where did he go? I think that he could be that guy. I mean, look, you have Micah Baskerville, who I think is going to be back. You have Mike Jones, that we haven't seen yet, who's going to have a whole fall camp to get acclimated. Bug Strong didn't play. So, guys, there's a lot of linebacker options to be in there. I think Antoine Sampa did really good with the interception. I thought he did some good stuff too. And so I think that they're deep. I'm not saying Jared Small's not going to play. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to say that he's not going to start. Not going to say that either. But I think that there's a lot of talented guys in there. So if you don't see a Jared Small, it might be because you got beat out by Bug Strong, who wasn't there, and or Mike Jones. So I was really hoping to see Bug Strong. I get why he wasn't able to go, but still. Richard says, yes. Richard says, remember to hit the like and share. Yes, do hit the like and share right now because we're about to bring on our next guest. A couple more questions and we'll get to him. Dorian says, what are we hearing, Blake? Is Mulkey a legitimate possibility? I would love to see her in BR, but I have heard nothing about Woodward pursuing her. He gonna call her. She's your number one. She's your number one phone call. Doesn't matter if she comes or not. So you got to go after her. All right, one more, and then we're gonna get to our good friend, our next guest, Rick from Monster Bass. Tosh said, excited about this upcoming season and all the new coaches. The footballers didn't look confused. No, they didn't. And I thought that it was really surprising to see that the secondary looked so good. I mean, they legitimately looked good. And they weren't confused and they communicated well. So we'll see that. We'll get to some more football talk in just a second, guys, but we got to get over to our next guest, and it's going to be Rick from Monster Bass. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get Rick in here. Guys, you got to go see my good friends over at your home team, team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. Your number one real estate team in the North Shore. Go meet with one of their great real estate agents today. Tell them your good friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino, sent you by. And if you tell them that I sent you by, I know that they're going to try their damn best to get you in the home, and your favorite home, or the home that you've always been dreaming for. Go to team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. Again, always remember to tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by. And our next guest, who's actually the president of Monster Bass, guys, I got my box today. I got to tell you this. I got some swag. I got some good tackle in here. I'm ready to hit the water. But guys, you got to go over to monsterbass.com with the premium subscription fishing company that handpicks the best baits based off where you live and fish. You guys know we all live in Louisiana. There's no more guessing which baits are going to work. Just leave it up to the pros over at Monster Bass. Basically, it's like living with your own personal fishing god. And I'm so ready to hit the water. Again, they're quickly becoming the number one fishing brand for anglers everywhere with the best bait. Go over to monsterbass.com, put in the promo code AYS10 to get $10 off your first box. Again, monsterbass.com. That's monsterbass.com. All right, we got to get to our next guest, Mr. Rick. Rick, what's happening tonight, my man? You're telling all the people about Monster Bass, and they're excited. I got my tackle right here.
Yeah, man.
I love it, bro.
Good. How you doing?
We're doing good, man. We're just talking some LSU, talking some Louisiana. We're ready to get on the water. And Rick, I got to start off here. Where's your most favorite place in the world? Not just in the U.S., but where's your favorite place in the world to fish?
I mean, I've had some really epic adventures, and a lot of it doesn't really revolve around bass fishing. God, there's so many. I was down in Cabo, and I caught a 91-pound rooster fish on lightweight tackle. Thing spooled me like 3 times. There I am on a skiff. I'm the only one speaking English, and the thing spools me like 3 times, and the guy just keeps like waving at me and pointing, and I didn't know, oh my God. And that was amazing. I fished on a show down in Florida, and I caught like a 550-pound Goliath grouper. And I got the idea of, this would make for great TV. So I jumped in the water with the fish, and there I am sitting there. I'm getting my picture taken, and they're looking at me like I'm the biggest idiot on the planet. I get out of the water. No joke. 10 minutes later, the boat hasn't moved. I pull up a 15-foot tiger shark. Oh. And I look at the guys. I'm like, you guys didn't tell me that there were sharks in the water. And the guy looks at me. He goes, it's the ocean. What are you, an idiot? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Good call, right?
That's like when Shaq went on Shark Week, and he's like, wait, there's actually going to be sharks here? And they're like, it's Shark Week, Shaq. Right. That's pretty funny. Rick, we got a couple of questions already out the gate from a couple of people. Blaine says, with the water high right now in Louisiana, tips for fishing when water levels are really high right now.
Oh man. So I'll be honest. I've not done a lot of fishing in Louisiana. But like when depending on like the temperature of the water, like I'm more about the temperature, and I'm more about the clarity of the water. Right. And for me, those are the two things. Like where I am right now, it's I got water temperatures of 58 degrees. I'm throwing a bunch of glide baits. And again, the water clarity, it for me is really clear. Now I'm going to assume that down in Louisiana, the water clarity isn't as clear.
No, not at all. Very brackish. Brackish.
Yeah, and see, I don't do a lot of brackish water fishing. I'm either salt or I'm fishing fresh water. But when the water gets dark, I like to throw on a spinner bait, solid trailer. I mean, this time of year, I'm also throwing a ton of chatterbaits, a lot of red.
Nothing but spinner baits right here, Rick. That's all what this is. So I'm really pumped up. I'm going on the water. I got my package right here. So just let the people know that's what we have right here.
Nice.
We do have another question from Craig Schilling. He says, #Ask Rick, can college fishing as a sport, quote unquote, catch on? I think it's really interesting. Rick, I watch these guys catch a lot of bass. They do it on ESPN. It's very fun and interesting. Do you think that that's something that could really catch on from, like, we see sports get like these TV deals?
Yeah.
Is that something that could happen? I know that a lot of colleges down in the South do a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I found it really interesting when one of my good friends he got a full ride to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, for fishing. And at first I was like, wait a minute, you got a full ride? And he's like, yeah, and it's for fishing. And now it turns out that, you've got schools like Auburn. I mean, Auburn, there was a big controversy around their fishing team, and they were going to get banned for a little bit because they did some stuff during COVID. But yeah, there are more and more universities that have legitimate fishing teams where they're giving full athletic scholarships. I mean, for fishing. And I know it sounds kind of absurd, but it's such a big thing, right? You think about it, more Americans fish than play golf and tennis combined. It's the third most participatory sport in the country, and we added 10 million new people to the sport last year alone. So it's just growing like crazy.
Well, and I saw that stat. I saw somebody put that stat out that you just mentioned. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and it kind of, no puns intended, blew me out of the water. Right? I was like, damn, I didn't realize that it was that much of that much. Bass Rick or Rich on YouTube says hashtag Ask Rick. I heard you were a very big WWE fan, and so listen. I say Rudy Poo Candy Ass on the show more than any human being alive. It's kind of my silent obsession, a little bit like you. So Rich wants to know Stone Cold versus Goldberg. Who you got?
Yeah, Stone Cold all day long. Listen, Goldberg might be big. Goldberg might be bigger, but listen, there's no question. Stone Cold is a lot smarter in the ring, and he's going to take the right moment. He's going to hit him with a stunner, and it's going to be lights out.
Well, I got to ask you this. The biggest, I think, in my era when I was growing up, it was The Rock and Stone Cold. And I fell in love with The Rock because, look, we have a podcast, so I'm chirping all the time, and he's chirping. He's got Louisiana ties with Ed Orgeron, so I'm going to love The Rock.
Of course.
But that era, and in all seriousness, just transcended a lot of different things. What I guess from my generation to now, this one, do you think it's kind of lost that a little bit with just the gift of gab from either Stone Cold and The Rock that they're kind of missing with that?
Yeah, I think what that generation had was this was the beginning of cable television, right? Prior to that, you had a lot of older wrestlers. You had, Ric Flair, and you had guys that were regionally based. And it wasn't until Vince McMahon bought the WWF from his father and then decided that he was going to take over the entire country, right? Cable was brand new. So this was the first time most people got to see these people. So you had these polarizing figures that no one had ever seen before. You had Stone Cold, you had The Rock, you had guys like that. And so it was so new and so engaging and so powerful that you couldn't help but watch it. Like Monday Night Raw was ridiculous. And now it's become it's so available. And now it's, I got Monday nights, I got Thursday nights, I got Saturday nights. They, used to have the main event, and Monday Night Raw used to be special. And now it's, and I get it, right? WWE is publicly traded. They got to make a ton of money. And it's I do think that we've lost some of those amazing characters like Stone Cold and The Rock, for sure.
Are you like me and sit up in god awful long amounts of time at night and watch YouTube and watch when The Rock sits there and he talks to Billy Gunn? He goes, "Oh dear God,
yeah,
please let me be more like The Rock." Rick, I gotta be honest. I will watch those videos for hours, and my wife will walk in like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter what I'm doing,"
right.
Stuff like that. So, are you like me? Do you do that on YouTube and watch all that stuff?
There's an 8-part series that just started on A&E, and it's covering the 8 most polarizing characters in WWF, and each episode's 2 hours. And so last night I sat there and I started watching it, and she must have been talking to me. I couldn't hear a thing because I was so focused on Stone Cold, and I'm sitting there and she's like, "Are you gonna watch this all night?" And I'm like, "You bet your candy ass I'm gonna watch this all night long." Right? Like, come on. It's the worst is when I start, like, I'll hit Facebook and I'll start scrolling and I watch one video. The moment I hit one video,
I know.
I'm going to get caught up in the 25 greatest Stone Cold Stunners, 10 years of The Rock, the Undertaker. I can get caught up watching that stuff and spend hours on that.
I do too. We have a couple of questions in here. Mark says, #ask Rick, what bait would you use fishing in the Gulf off the beach at night?
I have absolutely no idea because I've never fished off the Gulf at night. I don't know. Wouldn't I throw some sort of live bait? I would think.
Right. I mean, that's normally what you would probably do. That's what I normally do.
Yeah.
Is because, it's really hard. They can smell, but they probably can't see as good either. So definitely something. We're going to have to get you down here and do some of that. Let's see. Blaine Smith says jet flying, limousine
riding, Rolex wearing. Come on.
Man, that just always.
That guy was amazing. Did you ever see the 30 for 30 on Ric Flair?
I did. It was crazy, man. It was
think
crazy.
About what that guy did. Unbelievable. He'd roll into that, whatever, the Holiday Inn in some little town he was staying at, and he'd buy all the drinks for everybody in the bar because he wanted it to be a party. That guy is got the gift for gab. It's amazing. I love it.
And the simple fact, you got NFL players doing it in the locker room to get pumped up. Jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. You have dudes making millions 30 years ago when he said that in a locker room, and they want him to come do. I remember, what was it? The Colts got Flair to come do a pregame speech.
Oh, my God.
Somebody's candy ass by like 30 points. It was ridiculous. I mean, just the transcendent of that era was, I thought, was Junkyard Dog, says Ryan. Let's see. We have one here. Devin says, #AskRec, NWO or DX? I'm going to go DX. I'm more of a DX fan than a Hogan fan. I know I'm in the minority there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I would have to go DX as well. Like NWO was really good. They really were, but there was something special about Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Those guys were they were just in your face and they didn't care.
I mean, I got in so much trouble walking up in middle school telling people to suck it, that I had to be careful. I'm getting in trouble in school. Parents are telling me not to chill out. Look, Rick, there is one question. I know you guys are on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And we're here in the Deep South. Football in college, and we're mainly a college football podcast.
Yeah.
It's really started to shift a little bit. It's more South dominated, but the West Coast has a lot of great athletes, a lot of great culture. Why do you think that it's changed so much on the West Coast than maybe than the SEC? Because look, it's not about money, because the West Coast has money. USC has money. Why do you think that is?
You have the best recruiter. Look at your class. Ed O brought in recruits from 11 different states. We were the biggest idiots on the planet to let him go. I don't know who the powers to be were that made that decision, but I think that USC would have an entirely different program today if we had kept Ed as our coach. He is a master recruiter, and we've shown that we've stumbled. And because we've stumbled, people have made choices to go to other places because we look like we don't have a solid, consistent program right now, right? Even look at schools like Oregon. After, I can't remember what his name was when that coach left. Oregon's never been the same. They stumbled. We should have kept Edo, and we would have still been on the national stage. Instead, we decided to let him go, and look what your program's done.
Let me ask you, is there a consensus? And I know that it's probably not going to happen because you said LSU where you grew up, but is there kind of a thought process from people around USC that if they fire Clay Helton, that they might want to call Ed Orgeron to come back to USC? Is there any talk or chirps about that?
They talk about it all the time.
Don't tell me that. We can't get in the bidding war. We can't get in the bidding war right now.
No, you couldn't get into a bidding war. I think it's been pretty clear. I have some friends that are in the higher ups in the administration at USC, and they talk about it all the time. They're like, there's a group within USC that has said we should be doing whatever it takes to bring him back, because it's not that he's just a good coach. He's like the best recruiter on the planet. I mean, the guy is so good.
That makes me kind of, doesn't make me easy. I don't know. I don't think he'd go anywhere, but just in the
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Just the simple fact that the people want him is kind of crazy in and of itself. One last thing on Coach O and the culture there that he was building at USC. I know that people always say that he was the guy that was kind of getting it back there. Was there just a huge devastation at USC when they didn't keep him? Did fans kind of, I don't want to say riot, but were they really upset when they didn't hire him?
Yeah, I mean, when they didn't hire him, because it seemed like such an obvious choice. It seemed like the no-brainer decision, and I don't know what they were doing, because to this day, every decision that they've made since has been the wrong one. And the right one was to keep him. And everybody knew it. And whether it was that they didn't, they couldn't stand his voice, didn't think that the guy was talented enough to be the head coach. I mean, it boggles my mind, and probably just about every USC fan in the city.
Just so crazy to me, because, that was where he wanted to be. That's where he wanted to, wanted to build his legacy, and they just didn't. Rick, a couple more questions. I greatly appreciate your time. I'm going to let you tell everybody where they can go to Monster Bass. I know we read the sponsorship, but just again, we're going to let them do it. The NFL, Sean McVay's like the poster child for the West Coast. He's got the great hair. He's a good-looking guy. But he's kind of started to lose a little bit, and people are kind of getting uneasy with him. What's it like for him out there? Is the kind of the honeymoon a little over for Sean McVay, or are people still okay with him?
I think we're really okay with Sean McVay. I think at the end of the day, when you look at what we paid for Jared Goff,
I know.
I mean, listen, I remember when he played in his rookie season. I know I'm going to make a comparison to a quarterback that didn't do very well, but like I watched the game against when he was a rookie, Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, and there was no comparison. Carson Wentz was heads and tails above Jared Goff. I think the key to Jared Goff was McVay. Right, the NFL changed rules around McVay because Goff would go up to the line of scrimmage, and McVay would survey the defense, and he would call the audible in Goff's ear. And so, like, Goff has never been that great. Like, I love Matt Stafford. I mean, he's old. I would have never paid the king's ransom that they paid for this guy. I mean, I would have paid that for Deshaun or someone else, but I would have never paid that much for Goff. I think that last year they did a really good job with the team that they had. I mean, they started getting rid of They got rid of Brandon Cooks. They got rid of what's his name from Georgia, Todd Gurley, and they started getting rid of some of the players that you thought were really important, but they kept, and they gave away a king's ransom for Jalen Ramsey. I mean, I don't know that they've done the best job managing the team, but I think he's done a pretty good job with what he's got. I think that his defense, once they got rid of Wade Phillips, I think the defense is starting to come together. So I think next season should be a pretty good season for them, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with Stafford.
Kind of crazy about that whole Aaron Donald thing too. Like they said he punched some guy, and then he really didn't, and then you're like, everybody was sticking up for him for punching the guy because he's just a mammoth of a man. Crazy story all around. I'm going to give you one last question. This is not sports related or anything like that. You're a fantastic entrepreneur, and we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people building. We're building our podcast. It started literally in just a 2 or 3 by 3 cubicle. Now we got production. We have and so we're building. What's something that you've taken along your way as an entrepreneur to help build your business and everything that you do? That one thing that you're just your core foundation as being such a great entrepreneur.
I think I've really had to make sure I surround myself with people whose opinions I trust, and to not think that I'm the smartest person in the room. Right? Because the moment that I think I'm the smartest person in the room is the moment that we're all going to go down with the ship. Because sometimes, I think I have really good ideas, but if I don't have someone to bounce it off, I'm liable to take the whole place down. I'm liable to burn it to the ground. And so, in our first year, we did pretty well. But I know that if we're going to scale this business to what we know it's going to be, I got to surround myself with talent. And so I can't, I've got to learn to delegate and trust the people around me, because if I don't delegate and trust, I'm going to choke hold the growth, and we're never going to get there.
Such a great answer, because we can do this podcast, and I might be the face of it, but we have production, we have editing crews, we have all this different stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And I might run something by multiple people before I run it, and they're like, Blake, that's absolutely trash. And I'm like, kind of stone cold. I'm like, what? But then I got to sit back and think. And I think that's just a great answer of how to just run and build a business. And I agree with that. I'm going to kind of tail off on that last one. What are you guys doing in Monster Bass right now that you are so excited about, that you want everybody to get fired up about and to be looking out for?
Yeah, so it's no secret that the monthly box that we send every month introduces people to the newest and the best baits based upon where they live and fish. But starting May 1, we're also starting the Big Bass Championships. And what that is that's a year-long tournament where it's your best fish for the entire year. So if you're a Monster Bass subscriber, it's free. But if you go fishing on a regular basis, it's $10. $10 gives you a shot at winning up to $10,000 worth of prizes. And literally, whether you catch the fish today, tomorrow, next month, or December 31st, it only takes one fish to win. And we think what we're going to end up with is the biggest online fishing tournament in the country when it's all said and done. And again, it's one fish. Why not?
I'm going to be a little honest with you. I'm kind of geeked out about it. I heard about it. I'm really geeked out. I'm ready to go. We got plans to go this weekend. I told the wife I'm going to kiss the wife and babies, and we're on our way. So AYS is joining the tournament. We're going to look. We might even send a brim that's this big, but we might, we're going to send everything that we can to do that. Rick, tell everybody where they can find all y'all stuff and everything that y'all are doing.
Yeah, if you're interested in learning more about Monster Bass, you can just check us out at monsterbass.com. As you know, he's got a promo code. You should use his promo code. But you can sign up. You can sign up for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And every month, we're going to hook you up with the best baits based upon the places you love to fish. So check it out at monsterbass.com.
Man, I really appreciate it. This has been fantastic. And we're going to bring you on again soon and talk about this. And we'll definitely be pushing the tournament, because I know that a lot of these Louisiana and Coonasses are competitive, and they're definitely going to be doing it, my friend. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Y'all have a good night. That's Mr. Rick from Monster Bass. Go to Monster. Dude, we're going to do it. We're definitely going to do the tournament. Like, everybody start sending me pictures and sending Monster Bass the pictures to doing the tournament. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk some more LSU stuff. But guys, you got to get over to my good friend, Mr. John Patton over at Area Home Lending. Guys, if you're thinking about buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, or even doing that cash out refi, the timing has never been better. Get in touch with John Patton from Area Home Lending today, and if you mention the show, he will send his team out for a free appraisal. 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. And tell them Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. And our good friends over at the Drake Law Firm, personal injury, criminal defense, real estate, and successions. There's absolutely nothing that they can't do. Get over to the law firm today for any and all of your attorney needs. Again, that's personal injury, criminal defense, real estate, and successions, and go see them down in downtown Ponchatoula. It was a really good segment with Rick there over at Monster Bass. Let's see. Ryan says live shrimp are croakers. Yep. Ryan says, sorry, so late, dude. It's better late than never, brother. It's better late than never. I want to say this before we get off of the show, because, and I might make this a little part of this segment. Sorry, guys. Had to mute myself because I was about to cough. There has been, and again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but there's been a general thought process about the overreaction from the spring game. And I just want to sit here and say that, look, I did this all last year, like overreacted to the talent that was on this team. I overreacted to departures from other teams and got really purple and gold generated. I don't want to do it. I want to see what I saw on the field. I want to see the depth. I want to see the talent. And I want to make sure that we're not overreacting. You know, I heard people today say overreacting and saying that this O-line sucks. No, they don't, man. Like, no, they don't. And I'm kind of getting a little upset and tired about everybody putting all the pressure on the O-line. Yeah, I know that they can take it, and I know that they can do things, but I saw some comments earlier that people said that they were there and that they thought that the O-line did good, and I personally did. I personally thought they did well too. So just before we get out of here, I want to make sure that we're not overreacting to everything. Jordan Simpson, what's up, Jordan? He says, was the spring game on TV here in Shreveport? We had the Alabama spring game. No, we had Jordan. You had to go to ESPN Plus to watch it. I think that you can go to ESPN Plus and go the on-demand route. And he also sent us some stars. Jordan, I greatly appreciate you doing that, my friend. Really, really appreciate that. All right, guys, you know what? We're about an hour in. We're going to call it a night. Don't forget, Glenn Gilbo is going to be stopping by Wednesday. And then we'll be going around the SEC tomorrow. We'll be talking some we're going to go to Arkansas. We're going to go up to Fayetteville and talk some Arkansas and how their spring's going. But until then, guys, we greatly appreciate you all joining the show, and we'll see you again soon. Y'all have a good night.